Not every black guy is a thug. And sometimes all a black guy needs is a hug from a compassionate, passionate woman who's not passive about her actions, but takes time to get the hardest questions asking. You be that woman and you'll see that most men are just boys masking. These boys, they love to play ball, and girls, they want to be like Jordan, so they wear them. But their laces are always untied, yet they run through the court of life thinking that they're shooters. Someone please tell Kelly we don't need any more machine guns, what we need to do is lace up. A black man can be sharper than his shape-ups. Our different shapes us, which takes us to a place that makes us embrace our mistakes and make up our character and embrace our faces, even if it means we need braces. Face it, these phases of racist debates engrave in our brains and makes us feel less than that which we're made for. Take 5, because I need a break from these dramatic mindsets. You see, the violence between Crips and Bloods was as disgusting as washing your crib in blood. This is just gang talk for the gangsters that can't walk without their pants hanging around like Hancock, their hands always under cock because they can't talk to a girl without trying to get in her pants first. But yet, there's an undeniable unity if you've ever seen a Blood doing the Crip walk. If I know anything about Crips or Pyru, it's that power rules despite their coward moves. And where there's money, there's power. Where there's power, there's respect. But the man that has the most power yet is the one that has knowledge. And you can't but credit this to the ones doing the white work. The white boys who became lawyers and doctors because they refused to solve the problems through a black Glock. The ones that will put you on trial for murder, yet treat you in a hospital if you ever got shot. But sometimes it seems like a black man's brain hangs lower than his genes, and God has placed in our genes a whole bunch of dreams that should be our never-ending themes, but it seems like we're trading these things for things. And it makes us fit in the stereotype that a black man is just a stereotype, like the songs you listen to on the stereo determines the type of man that you are. So our hip-hop, hardcore, boom bap moves us back to a time where all we moved is crack, and we don't care because you don't care. We don't care because you weren't there when our sons and daughters are facing bail or trying to prevail over life's travails. And in your eyes, we're still your slaves because a white police officer can whip and chain any and every black guy that owns a whip or a chain. But it's not your fault. And I apologize if my culture seems more like a cult. But I refuse to be a thug. I refuse to be that which I wasn't meant to be. I refuse to be unplugged from my society. See, sometimes I wonder if Oscar Grant would have ever been granted an Oscar. It seems like black people don't often receive awards, and some of my black friends don't even know who Oscar was. I mean, I once had a friend who didn't know who Malcolm X is. Maybe it's because he was way too busy dealing with all his exes. Baby mamas and baby daddies, crack babies turn our balls into Krabby Patties. A misinterpretation of black power. Black Panthers who panted after bland water. It's the aftermath of swimming in bad water. But please, don't throw our black boys away. Because they are just babies. It's that culture that's the bathwater. Thank you very much. My name is Tobi Ogude, or some people like to call me Tobi the Intern. I am a writer, a poet, creative director, an event curator at Blank Canvas Gallery. Blank Canvas Gallery is a gallery that's powered by the collective Omit Limitation. Blank Canvas has given me the opportunity to be exposed to the local arts community in Toronto. Now, the local arts community, specifically the underground community, has done a marvelous job at creating a culture in Toronto of love, peace, and mutual respect. But every day I go around Toronto, and every day I experience the lifestyle that Toronto leads, I've come to find that this culture is both highly misrepresented and highly uncredited for. But this culture is literally the root of all the positive feedback that Toronto has been receiving on a global scale. And this culture, what we don't understand is that it stems from the underground urban community. I have titled this talk, A Collection of Collectives, Bridging the Gap Between the City and its Community. There is a gap of understanding, respect, and appreciation for the culture that is being crafted by the underground community in Toronto between the city itself and its community leaders and members. Now, in this community, you have a whole list of different talented people, treasures, people that have treasures that should be really tapped into, such as photographers, such as writers, such as art directors, such as curators, such as models, such as actors. These people form such a strong bond in the community because this is what a community needs to be the cornerstone of any city and of any culture. But the city of Toronto has done this weird thing of taking these leaders and taking all these artists and pushing them into marginalized groups. And it's not like this is the first time you've heard about marginalized groups. Now, I believe that in order for Toronto to grow in the way that it needs to build communication, discussion, and just general appreciation for this culture that's being built. Now, if you know who I am, you know that I have this passion for the dead poets. Now, when I say the dead poets, I'm not referring to Robin Williams' Dead Poets Society. Instead, I'm referring to anyone who's been able to find significance in themselves, regardless of society's attempts to push them into marginalized groups. Marginalized groups such as groups of people of color, people who identify themselves as queer, people who don't have the same religious beliefs as the typical Eurocentric Christian ideologies. These people are literally the cornerstone of civilization. This is where life, culture, and art stems from. But the city has done a great job of taking this culture, putting it under their belt, and selling it. So, what we need to understand is that the city's actions and the things that the city does and the way they conduct themselves affects the community. And the way and the things that the community does, these leaders, these creative directors, these photographers, these people, these graffiti artists even, shape the way that the city is seen in the city and outside of the city. Now, the community in general has understood the power of these types of people. And they have provided safe DIY spaces for these creators to come and network, to come and create, to come and just be themselves. But the problem now is these safe DIY spaces keep shutting down. Perfect example of this is Soy Bomb. Soy Bomb is a DIY space that recently shut down. It started in 2003 as a space meant for the skateboarding community, just built by the skateboarding community. The love and passion that people like Jason Wydra, the founder of Soy Bomb, have for their community. Founded by Jason Wydra, and he has done a remarkable job of building and crafting this culture. And Soy Bomb was shut down because of violations to safety codes. Now, these safety codes and regulations and things that the city put together are good. They're actually here to help spaces like these keep functioning and progressing and building that culture of love, peace, and mutual respect. But the problem is, the way these regulations, these codes, are enforced are super counterproductive. Blank Canvas Gallery is an example of this. Blank Canvas is a perfect example of this. Constructed, invested, and funded by the community. Over here, you see us building what we started with. Here is the last day we spent at Blank Canvas. Now, an incident had occurred on New Year's Eve that led to the unexpected closure of Blank Canvas. And that incident occurred on this day when we had our Bubbly show, an art show that included all the artwork done by at least 60 plus members of our community, from photographers to painters to sculptors. And I won't go too much into detail as to what happened that night, but I will say this. If anyone ever told me that police brutality is a myth, or that it only exists in the States, or it just doesn't happen, I would firmly but politely tell them to shut the fuck up. Because I've seen it with my own two eyes. I've witnessed it. With my own two eyes. It's hurt my personal friends, families, and community members. But we're still here. I'm here standing in front of you 2 months later, and I'm proud to announce that we are opening a bigger, better, safer space at 890 St. Clair West. Because that is how you overcome. You don't overcome by slander or going on Facebook and throwing videos everywhere. You overcome by trusting your community. You overcome by trusting the people who's got you from day one. And this is where I need this. We're opening a bigger, better space. And at this time, I'd like to thank the collection of collectives who's helped us, like Support Your Local Collective, Stilio, Baby Teeth, Lost is Found, Rude, IXXI, Lucid Dream, Praise Toronto. All these collectives have done have played excellent roles in not only just building the culture that all of you know about, but also helping us in our time of need. We are stronger because of community. And in order for Toronto to progress, in order for Toronto to keep moving forward, the city has got to start having conversations with these artists, creators, creative directors, painters, poets, photographers. We need conversation to start happening, because what the city does and the actions they take affects their community that they're sworn to serve and protect. Like they swore it. And what the community does also affects the city. And as I said, the way that these community members and these community leaders have helped us is so incredible that I don't think it's fair to call ourselves a DIY space any longer. I think it's only fair to call ourselves a DBC space, done by the community, because this is literally what we are. And each of these safe spaces, each of these places where people could come, connect, be themselves, we like to call it enjoy the vibe. These spaces are meant for growth of this culture of love, peace, and mutual respect. These spaces are meant for you to come out and be yourself. And the more we have these spaces being built, the more we can create this culture of love, peace, and mutual respect. At this time, I'd like to thank the administration of TEDxUofT for having someone like me, a perfect stoner, talking amongst professors, educators alike. And before I get off, I would urge you to take time out of your busy schedules, take time out of your student schedules to come out and see what the vibe looks like in these safe spaces. Come out and experience. Don't just judge before entering. Come and enter. Experience it for yourself. Experience what it feels like to be at home, because that's what a safe space is. Any space where you feel at home, come out and experience what these safe spaces feel like. Wow, I messed that up. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll do that again. I'm doing good so far. Come out and experience, thank you. Come out and experience what it feels like to be at home when you have none to go to. For more information on how to support us and to keep supporting the culture that we're building for you, you can follow us on these social media sites. My name is Tobi Ogude, and I want y'all to have a good day.